If you're looking to connect with more highly motivated, we're talking highly motivated sellers to boost your listing business, you're going to want to stick around for this video because we're going to break it all down for you. And trust me, this is going to be pure gold when we talk about reaching out to pre-foreclosures or NODs or notice of default opportunities. This thing is crushing right now. So before we jump into that, as always, make sure you subscribe if you're not already a subscriber, and like, share, and comment on this video. Let me know, do you have opportunities increasing or decreasing for pre-foreclosure? And also, what have you done to tap into this gold mine of a market? Because it is really serving two big things, and I'm going to break down why in just a second. But I always want to make sure that I also let you know that here at Real Estate CEOs, we are here to help you. We're here to serve the agent community, and if you ever have any questions, you can go in the description below and grab some one-on-one time with me. And also, we do partner with agents, teams, and brokerages all across the US and Canada to help them grow and scale their business. So feel encouraged to reach out. But let's jump in today's topic. All right, so the first thing we need to talk about is, why is it such a gold mine? Well, here's the reality. I'm not super interested in taking advantage of anybody's challenges, right? Anybody's bad luck or anybody's tough situation. But the reality is that pre-foreclosure homeowners are motivated, highly motivated, and they need solutions. Right? So something's got to happen. They've got to do something. And if they do nothing, if you don't get involved, if I don't get involved and step in and provide them with options, they're going to lose everything anyways. That's actually the worst possible scenario. So if there's a place to go out there and say, I actually help somebody accomplish something major and avoid a disaster, and I should get paid for that, this is probably the very best one. You can even argue it's better and a higher calling than selling a regular listing. Now, if you're not familiar with this, these are people who have been served something called a notice of default, meaning they're behind on their payment. They've missed 1 up to 3 sometimes payments on their mortgage. And right now they're feeling extremely overwhelmed. And they're looking for someone, an expert, to help them navigate these complex and very oftentimes confusing and stressful situations. And that's where you come in as a real estate professional. Now, when you do this right, this can be a listing after listing scenario where you're just teeing yourself up with more and more listing opportunities. And I'm going to show you actually exactly how we have that conversation. We're going to break it all down right now. Now, just for context, I'm going to break down exactly how we're going to open the call, right? And confirm that you're speaking with the right person. I'm going to show you how to make an introduction for yourself, how to ask the right questions, and how to add value by walking them through the 8 powerful options that they have, and position yourself as the expert, because that's what's really important. They actually do have 8 different options for every single scenario. Now, some might be the right fit, some may not be the right fit for them, but either way, we need to show them that they do have options. And by the way, some of them are not listing with you, and you will make no money off of them, but we're here to serve them. And the reality is, a lot of times the best solution in today's market is actually listing. And one of the main reasons why you'll get listings right now, as opposed to maybe some other markets in the future or even in the past, is because people have so much equity. And so a lot of times we're doing what's called a forced equity sale, meaning they have a ton of equity in their home still. And even though they might be behind, if we can help them see the clear path through all the complexity of the situation they're involved in and see a clear path to a sale, being able to take that equity that they've earned and go on to the next property, well, we can really actually help them out, and we can get paid to do it. And lastly, what we're going to talk about is how to secure the appointment. At the end of this video, and in just a second, we're going to give you the exact script that we're using right now to book appointments. Okay, so let's jump right into it, because I need to educate you a little bit in case you're not up to speed. Now, here's the thing. Most of these homeowners don't fully understand what their options are. They've actually been issued a notice of default, but they have no idea what to do next in a lot of scenarios. And you might even be surprised by that, because a lot of times they're really smart people, but they're smart in their area of expertise, not necessarily in what to do if you get served with a notice of default. And that's exactly why it's such an incredible opportunity for you, because you get to be their guide. You get to be the authority in that scenario. Now, the reality is they're in this situation for a reason, and it's very challenging, and having somebody like you is really important. So what that means is, if you can be the person that not only explains their situation and also lays it out clear and gives them actionable options, you become more than just a real estate agent. You actually transcend into the role of a lifeline for them, right? Into an authority for them, into a person who can help them. And that's how you turn cold leads into warm relationships and ultimately into listings. All right, so let's break it down. I'm going to give you the core components of this scripting and how to connect with that pre-foreclosure lead. You always want to make sure you're talking to the right person before you start diving into any of the options or deeper into the conversation. So you always got to start by confirming that it's their name and that they are the person that actually owns the home by whatever research you've done on the back end. Maybe you're probably looking at tax records. And so make sure they own the home at 123 Main Street, and you got to keep it friendly and professional. Next step is you got to introduce yourself and your area of expertise. So now that you've got them on the line, you confirmed it's the right person, you need to explain who you are and why you're calling. Now, I recommend something super simple, something like this. I specialize in helping homeowners who have received a notice of default, and I'm actually here to provide you with some information on the 8 different options you have now. Step 3 is you got to ask about their current plan and their ideal outcome. So before diving into the options, because a lot of times that's what we like to do. Well, you could do this, that, and the other. What we want to do is slow down. You need to know where their head is at. Ask them, hey, what's your current plan and what would they like to see happen? This is actually the moment where you start building rapport and showing that you care. And that's going to start positioning you as a trusted advisor in the whole process. Let me start over. This is where you're going to start building rapport, showing that you care, and positioning yourself as a really trusted advisor. Because remember, you're not just making a sales call. You're trying to open up a real conversation to help a real person. This is where you're going to build all the trust. So now we're going to keep it really simple with the 8 options. Now that you've learned their situation, it's time to go over those 8 options that they have, from personal loans, loan modifications, to listing their home or finding a cash buyer. The key here is to keep it simple. We don't want to overwhelm them, and you want to be straightforward and to the point. And so it's a little bit hard because we want to demonstrate that we do have solutions, that they do have options, but you also don't want to overwhelm them. We've learned this the hard way. And here's the reality. Take a quick breath, because you don't need to be a foreclosure expert. Just explain in very simple terms the basics and show them you know how to guide them through the process. Then 5th, then you go for the appointment. Now, this is where rapport building really pays off, because they feel heard and understood. So we say something like this. Hey, every single person's situation is different. I'm going to spend some time learning more about your situation, how we got here, and what your plan is. I'm going to go over some options with you. And like I said, everyone's situation is different. So when I come over, we're going to see what's true for you and which of these options make the most sense, so that you can make a well-informed choice for you and your family. Super simple. How about we meet this week, Thursday? I'm actually going to be in your area between 5 and 8 p.m. anyway. What time works for you? Super simple. Now, real quickly, we're going to go over objections, because what would a good video be without talking about objections, right? So now some sellers, they are hesitant to commit to a meeting, and that's totally fine. It's all about overcoming objections with empathy and authority. I'm going to repeat that. Empathy and authority is how we overcome these objections, because the reality is they do need help. You should not just shy away. This isn't a traditional call. These people really are overwhelmed, and you can be a really good solution. You're a beacon of light in this situation, and you need to know that. Now, if they're unsure, something that we could say is, hey, I totally understand. This is a lot to process all at once. But the sooner we discuss the options, the more control you're going to have over the outcome. And as a matter of fact, I might switch that but to an and, right? So it might sound like this. I totally understand. This is a lot to process. And the sooner we discuss your options, the more control you have over your outcome. I'm letting them know by meeting with me, they get more control. And that's what they really want. That's what they need. And remember, if you've built enough trust up to this point, overcoming objections will be a lot easier. So if you're facing a lot of resistance, just know, hey, chances are I may have stubbed my toe somewhere in the rapport building process. In just a second, I'm going to show you how to download this script that we're actually using inside of our team for free. But before I do that, the other thing is, you're probably wondering, well, what the heck are those 8 options? I'm not going to wait to give you the script to show you what those are. In case you're ready to rock, you already kind of feel like you can make these calls. I want to go over the 8 options that they have. So let's go over the first one, personal loan. So this is me talking to the seller, right? So if you're eligible, I could help point you in the right direction, but looking into a personal loan to catch up on your mortgage payments. Do you feel like this might be the right option for you? Now, in reality, I might not ask that question. I might just go ahead and disqualify it if they go, well, I lost my job. I haven't been in work for a while, so on and so forth. Well, chances are they're not going to get a personal loan. So there's that, but it's one of the options. Next is agent listing. Now, if you have, this is again me talking to them, if you have equity in the home, the most ideal solution that we are finding other people in your same situation using is to have you list the house as fast as possible. And I actually specialize in helping homeowners sell quickly to avoid foreclosure. Have you considered selling? That's a good one. Third option, loan modification. Now, there's an option to apply for a loan modification, but let's be honest, this process is long and it has zero guarantee of success. Have you looked into it yet? Now, here's the truth. Back in like 2008, 9, and 10, when all those crashes happened, I do have a personal experience with that. My mom did get a loan modification. Here's what we learned after the fact. She was one of the very few people. 2% of people that applied for loan modifications during that time actually got them. The majority of them missed a bunch of payments and got foreclosed on because they were going through the process. And one of the parts of the process is you have to miss payments, a certain amount of payments, in order to apply for a modification. So that's usually a challenge, but it is good to let them know that they can apply for a loan modification. Now, there's always the opportunity of renting the property. If they have somewhere else to go and their mortgage payment is lower than market rent, then they might want to just go, hey, you know what? Maybe you should lease out this property for a year or two while you get back on your feet and you can actually collect rent to cover the mortgage if giving up your home or selling your home and tapping into your equity is not something that you're super interested in. And beyond covering the payment, it might even provide a little bit of extra cash flow. Okay, so option number 5 is an all cash offer. I work with a ton of investors and can provide offers that might help close the deal fast and get you out of this situation quickly. Do you want to explore that? Now, number 6, subject to or creative financing. And these are very specific situations. Look more into subject to and creative financing. But what I talk to them about is I go, hey, listen, we can also look at creative financing options, things like a subject to deal where someone comes in and takes over your mortgage for you. And this is a really good alternative if you're looking to turn it around quickly and you don't want it to impact your credit too much. Now, a lot of times that's if they're short on their mortgage, meaning they owe more than what the house is worth. So that's always a good option. Now, number 7 and 8, renovate and list. It's just like listing, except it's, hey, if you have the means to be able to, or some resources to be able to renovate the house and list it for an even higher price. Now, a lot of times this is if they're like just about to break even, might even have to bring cash to the table to sell. Well, you never know. They might be able to tap into somebody, help them renovate. Maybe you even have a partner, and this is what we do. We have a partner where, hey, if we can renovate the home, they'll wait to get paid out until the close of escrow, so you can provide them with this option. Super rare that anybody actually does this one, but it is an option. Now let's talk last resort. This is the 8th option, which is bankruptcy. Now this is really a last resort, but it's something that I only recommend if all the other options are not possible. And one of the things I tell them, I go, hey, listen, it could be a long, difficult road and it might not solve the root issue. And then I ask them, have you spoken to an attorney about this? If not, I can recommend one. All right, so those are the 8 options. I want to make sure that I give them those when I'm on there, but I wanted to make sure you watching this video understand that they do have 8 options. This is not smoke and mirrors. This is not snake oil. This is us saying, hey, we have real options for you. I'm going to go over every one. And I want to be a resource for every single one of those. So I should know a bankruptcy attorney. I should know where to direct them if they're interested in renovating the house before selling, right? All these different options help them find a good property manager if they're thinking about leasing it out. Maybe you're willing to represent them as the agent when leasing out their home and helping them place a tenant, right? There's a lot of different things, but I am now their go-to resource and I'm giving them all their options. So I promised that I'd give you access to the script. Here's what you're going to do. You're going to go into the comment section below, type in, I want the script. If you type in, I want the script, I'll make sure that you get a link to directly download the entire script that we're using. Free of charge. It's totally yours. Use it and come back actually and give me some feedback on how it went. Now, don't get me wrong. One quick thing I need to make sure you understand is that you are going to be calling people that are very distressed. And so some of them might treat you poorly. And that's totally fine. It's totally expected. Have some empathy with them because they're going through a challenging time. And sometimes they might think you're being predatory. But in reality, if you come into this whole situation with your hands up saying, hey, I'm just here to help. I'm going to provide you with the options. Of course, we want them to list the home, but do what's right. Do not give them an option to list the home when there's a better option. Maybe they should rent it out. right? We've actually done this 2 times recently where we go, hey, why don't you keep the house? You can go move in with your in-laws for a year, get back on your feet, right? Because you have job interviews or whatever it was. Actually, that was exactly what it was. Go move back in with your mother-in-law, take your family there. You guys can be there for a year, rent out the house because you can actually cash flow about $800 a month. That was huge for them. And the truth is, what we made a couple $1,000s placing a tenant, and that's it. And then we referred it over to our property manager partner. And so, cool. But here's the reality though. That person is now in a much better position than before. Hopefully I can get some referrals from them. Hopefully they'll want to buy or sell with us in the future. But either way, we help them navigate the situation. And so that's a big deal. And as always, if you found this video a helpful resource for you, make sure you give it a thumbs up, share it with somebody else, and comment below to get that script. Until next time, let's keep crushing it in real estate.